Hey y'all, this is AL Thick Madame, and I am coming at y'all with another review for Love and Marriage Huntsville. So before I get started, I'm gonna show y'all one of my little shirts that I got today, and it is for Black History Month, and I love it. And I've seen it for like a year or so online, various places, especially like when you're on Facebook or something. They'll have ads, and they will sell them for like 20 something dollars. And I got this for four. So this is the shirt, and I've always loved it. I have another shirt as well, and it is a D'Angelo quote where it says "Brown sugar, babe," and I got that, and I'm gonna wear that one day. I don't know when, but anyway, I'm about to do this review, y'all. So hopefully, y'all will stick on around for this ride, y'all, because a lot happened on this episode. Y'all, my head gets on my nerves sometimes. I just be like, Lord, do what I ask you to do. You know what I'm saying? And like the camera don't be doing my head just my hair would be doing the most. Like I be having a lot, girl. It don't be looking like doing nothing right now, but it is. It's really doing the most. So anyway, this episode started out with Kimmy and Maurice, and they were at home. They were outside. And this is when we are introduced to Kimmy's son. He is 20 years old. His name is Jalen. And he attends Troy State. And if I'm not mistaken, that's Troy State University, honey. And that is home of the Trojans. Now, I went to high school, junior high, and even kindergarten with a lot of people who actually ended up going there. And getting a great career football wise from there, and other people that I've associated with who have gotten degrees from there, various fields. That is a very amazing school to go to. Very, very amazing. So as soon as she said that, I was like, yes, go Trojans, set it off. So yeah. So I mean, I guess school is out. It's summertime. School ain't in right now. He ain't doing summer classes, and so he at the house with them. So he's talking to Maurice and was like, Maurice was like, well, what you gonna do while you here? And he was like, well, I might have to hit your brother up. So he gonna try to work. And so since it's summertime, Marsol is doing pool installations and all that good stuff. So then Kimmy comes outside and they're talking and all that good stuff. And as we all know, both of them have a child, at least one child from previous relationships. I know she has one. I only heard him talk about one. And it's an 11-year-old who is Maurice Jr., and they call him Monster. He seems like a really sweet kid, and he was out there too, and they were playing basketball. And so Kimmy was trying to talk to her son, and he was talking about what he was gonna do. And so she was like, you're gonna have to do something because you're gonna have to pay some bills by yourself, because apparently since he's in school, she's been paying bills like car insurance and all the other stuff, and so he doesn't work. So you know at least like how my parents were, they didn't care what I was doing. You either need to work or you need to be in college. I did both at the same time, and it was hard at times, especially when I had a full course load, but I did it and I got through it. And yeah, so she's been carrying that particular load for him, and so she was like, yeah, you're gonna have to do something. So then she goes on to tell him that he has a curfew, and so he was like, what you mean? You know what I'm saying? He feel like he's 20 years old. Ain't no reason to have a curfew. What is you talking about? Because he ain't got no curfew when he's on campus at the school, you know what I'm saying, doing whatever he do and whenever he down in Troy. Because, that's Huntsville where they're at right now. Troy is a whole nother down. It's down past my way. You go from Huntsville all the way down to Troy. Troy is past Montgomery, Alabama. And that's about a 45 minutes to an hour, sometimes a little bit longer. If you're trying to avoid getting caught by a state trooper, that's a little bit over an hour one way. I know somebody who used to take 45 minutes to get from school on the campus to Montgomery, and I'm like, how? Because I've driven there several times and have driven back. And even with me flooring it, because I ain't gonna lie, I like speed, I like to speed. I've just been lucky enough that I've only had one speeding ticket in my life. I don't know how, but I'm thankful for that because I do like to speed. I have a metal foot. But them state troopers, them Alabama state troopers don't be playing no games. And I ain't got no time to get no ticket, especially not in these trying times. Y'all, ain't nobody got time. So I was just very excited when she said that that's where he is. He's a sophomore in college at Troy. So I'm like, okay, then set it off, do that. Y'all, so anyway, the other child, his name is Maurice Jr., and they call him Monster. He's 11 years old. So they were talking, and eventually they were talking to the youngest, and they were like, well, have you talked to your mom today? And he was like, no. And they were like, well, you need to give her a call. Moms like to know, what's going on, to be informed or whatever. His mom is Maurice's ex-wife who resides in, Michigan, I think. And during the summer, he has, the custody of the child. He gets to have him over the summer. So he ended up FaceTiming his mom, and so she was like, what's going on with you? How's everything going? What's the plan for the summer? And he was looking at her like, I don't know what you're talking about. So she, asked basically to speak to his daddy, and then he got on FaceTime with her, and she was like, well, what you got going on for him for summer? And so he said something about space camp, skateboarding camp. So Kimmy over there looking like, what you mean? So get off the phone with her, and she basically had to break it down to him and let him know, like, okay, I've been with you for 7 years. Okay, that lets you know how young the son was. She says ever since he was basically of the age that they would allow kids to come to different camps and all that stuff, she has suggested that he puts him into one of those summer camps. Those summer camps are pretty amazing. I haven't been in any camps. My sister has and my brother has. I don't know why. Y'all, I don't know what in the world happened, but my parents dropped the ball when it came to me. They didn't put me in no camp. I know we had a camp called Camp Weasaway, right? And it was nowhere near where we lived. My parents had to take my sister there. We had to drive there. When I tell y'all, it felt like it took forever to get there. I forgot where it was, y'all. It's been so long ago. But I was so tired in my spirit. But my sister had fun. She went horseback riding. They did all kinds of zip lining. They did the absolute most for children who have asthma. And I'm just like, I have asthma? You know what I'm saying? Why I couldn't be a part of this in my life when I was of age? My brother, he's gone to all kinds of camps. And I'm just like, man, I ain't get to do none of this stuff. But I am still grateful for the one thing that I was able to do. And that was be a part of SSS, which is Student Support Services, which is a government-funded program that is amazing. I loved it. I was able to go to various states and other cities in Alabama as well. And I mean, I would not have, I went to Louisiana twice before Hurricane Katrina. And I mean, because of what the program stood for, it had to have some education tied to it. So we did have fun, but we mainly would tour colleges and all the other stuff while we were there and see historical sites. Like, it was amazing, y'all. But I digress. But yeah, Kimmy is in her feelings because she says she has asked him over and over again to put that child in camps, these summer camps, and he would come up with all kinds of excuses and reasons as to why that's not an option. But as soon as his mother asks, is he gonna put him in stuff like that, he was like, oh yeah. And then this is the dumb part, y'all. He don't even know what all goes into that. Like, it is an actual process. And you know what I'm saying? If you were like how my parents were, which we were considered low income and all that stuff, if you try to do it and go for free, you have to, you know what I'm saying? You have to apply by a certain time and see if there is some kind of grant or whatever it is attached to it so you can be actually put on the list in consideration for this stuff. Like, there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. But with the places that he was trying to take him, you have to pay a fee. Now, if my parents paid a fee, they paid a fee that they actually sat up there and saved. Because like I told y'all before, my mama, she used to budget out money, and I don't know how she did it, even though we had moments where we didn't have things, but we made it. But it might have been a small fee, but everything, I mean, they would be gone for like a week or more. And I was just like, what in the world? Y'all, so anyway, he don't know what all goes into that. He thought that he just say, oh, he gonna go to a camp and he just drop him off, or she drop him off and that's the end of it. No, you have to register him. Like, a lot of stuff go into that. You gotta register him, you gotta pay for that. He looking like, what? Yes, you have to register your child for all this stuff. And there are like deadlines. Stuff starts at a certain time and stuff ends at a certain time as far as when you can even apply. So you have to be on the lookout. Like my mama used to be on the lookout for stuff like that. So that's how I was able to continuously for the short amount of time, because my mom started me late. My sister started TRIO, student support services, TRIO stuff. She started her in the 9th grade. I started when I was in the 11th grade because, like I told y'all before, we're 2 years apart. So I did that. The only thing that saved me was when I went to Alabama State University, I ended up doing the college version of the TRIO program, Student Support Services. And I was able to, for those 4 years, go to various places. I went to Louisiana once with them and once when I was in high school. And I was able to do the, I guess I can say it now since it's Black History Month. Y'all, I don't remember if I said this before, but one of the trips we went on that was supposed to be educational was we did the trail to follow the Underground Railroad. So we started in Alabama and we ended up in Michigan and we went to Canada. Had a good time in Canada. When I tell you Canada had all the weather, when we got in there and as soon as we were finally able to cross over, get through the toll or whatever that was that did the most, it rained, it was freezing, it was hot. I felt like it snowed a little bit at points. So it's like, what is going on with the weather, Jesus? Like, I'm serious. The weather, they had all of the weather in Canada, but it was an amazing experience. And so when we were done in Canada, we ended up going back down to Michigan, and we were in a really nice hotel there. And like I told y'all before, because of that experience, that was my first time ever trying Chick-fil-A. It was so delicious. And I had no idea that was Atlanta, Georgia, born and bred business. And I mean, it's been out there. I never had it. Nobody ever suggested it for me. And we had them in my city, and I just never been. And it's like, wow, where has this been all my life? Because it's been around for quite a while, like long enough to where I could have been having it most of my life. Of course, it's not healthy to have all day, every day, but you know what I'm saying? I try to like treat myself every now and again to that because it's delicious. I like the breakfast. But anyway, back to the story at hand. He didn't know nothing about what he was talking about. I was just like, Maurice, you fired for that. So anyway, she is just in her feelings to the point where she's just like, look, I love him and he is like my second heartbeat. But at the same time, you don't understand what all goes into being a full-time parent, because she was a single parent. And you have so many things you have to rearrange in order to put that child first in your life. He doesn't really understand that at this point. So, you know, she just doesn't want to get to the point where everything falls on her. Okay, cool, y'all. So, okay. Y'all, I'm about to get into something deep, so let me take a moment because y'all don't understand. Okay, hold on. Okay, so I had to get myself together. So, strangely enough, I had never been taught this in school, but as you will learn about me as I make videos, because it's going to have a variety of things that I discuss, one of the things being music. And I like a rap artist by the name of 6 Trey G, or 6 Trey Gangsta, who is somebody who is from the Huntsville area. And one of his records was called Cotton Row. And I read up on it was like a little sentence or two about it. I was like, wait a minute. Y'all, so to make a it's not really a long story, but You know what I'm saying? This is a Black history moment right here I'm trying to give y'all. The particular area that the people in this show went to, it is affiliated with what is considered to be called Cotton Row. The restaurant that they're going to in this episode is called Cotton Row Restaurant. And when I saw that sign, I immediately thought of Six Trey G and the songs and the record that he created that was entitled, I think, Cotton Row. And yeah, so the story behind the name Cotton Row is that area, it flourished so much because of the most cotton that they could grow. Like, it was such a great area, and they were getting like 1,000 pounds. People like really would come in and out getting bushels, getting all of this cotton because so much could be harvested and removed on any given day because so much grew there. So it was like nicknamed Cotton Row because like they really did the most when it came to growing and picking cotton. So yeah, I thought I'd throw that in there for y'all, a little Black history moment. But if you want to know more about it, you can feel free to look it up. But it has everything to do with, I think it's called Madison County. That's what the particular county is that Huntsville, or at least that part of Huntsville, is in. But yeah. Anyway, my bad. I'm sorry. That brought back a little memory from when I went up there and when I used to listen to him. I still listen to y'all, any of y'all who listen to rap and you've heard, I don't listen to the radio like that anymore unless it's old music or older music that the cutoff is like at a certain date. But anyway, at one point in time before I completely stopped, like literally turned the radio on to listen to music, when I heard this song, y'all know this song when I say this, okay. He says, fresh dressed like $1,000,000. He got that from what, Slick Rick or somebody? But that's how the song go. See, I was looking, feeling like $1,000,000 because I was, yeah. I like Six Trey G. Like, he be doing the most. You could tell by the things that he talks about that he's been through, that he's been, I think he said he's been to jail. Like, he had a hard road and he had been trying to turn his life around. Hopefully he's still on the right path. So, y'all, my bad again. I got distracted. Too much be going on, y'all. When I see little stuff like this, it reminds me of when I was there and certain things that I know of from other things. Because that's how I learn certain things, or how I become aware of certain things. It actually is something else. You know what I mean? It's something else that triggers that memory for me. So hopefully y'all appreciate this little nugget, so to speak. So what happened was they went to Cotton Row Restaurant to discuss the contract that they have all supposed to been signed. And the holdup is Martell, because he wants their company, basically him, to be the one to build the house and be paid that money, because they've already said that they think that they can find somebody else, another contractor that can do it for less than what he's asking. And he was like, I want to do it like for $85 per square foot. And, at first they were like, no. And then they just got to the point where they were like, look, Maurice was like, well, if we say 80, can we never revisit this again and we can just agree on it? And so he thought about it. He was like, yeah. So they agreed on that. And it got to the point where another random moment popped off, and Martell apparently is still in his feelings because of the contract situation. He goes on to call Letitia sweetheart and all the other stuff. And this is a business meeting. I hate when males say sweetheart and sweetie and all this other stuff, knowing that you're doing everything that is equating to calling me the B word or something like that out of my name, because you're upset or triggered by something that's happening that you don't agree with, that we are discussing. I don't like that. So she actually said to him, please don't call me sweetheart. I'm not your sweetheart. And he continued to say it. And I'm just like, what is wrong? Like, him and Marsau is just, they are neck and neck for me with how they act. And I'm like, I see why all y'all friends. I just don't understand why Maurice is in the bunch. But I guess next episode we'll see why, and I'll tell y'all about that possibly later, or y'all definitely see next week. because I was like, yeah, you're doing the most, sir. Don't nobody have time. So Marsau and Maurice are somewhere playing golf, and you could tell Maurice does not play at all. Or he tried, he one of the people that might try, but he can't do nothing, y'all. So I was like, Lord, sir. And we can tell that, what's his name? Marceau, he be out there all the time. So they having a like man time, and Marceau was like, he came up with this idea that of something that he wanted to do as a surprise for Melody and Martell. And basically, he passed off the information to Letitia for her to put it together. So what's going to happen is she is going to be the one planning a 10-year anniversary party for them. Y'all, tell me why they in the middle of talking, and Melody and Martell walk up. And I'm just like, why is she there? And they are thinking the same thing, because apparently this is man time. They've been having their girls' time. They're supposed to be having their guy time. And she's infringing on that. And I'm just like, why? So Martell gets in his little confessional, and he was like, I've just been taking Melody's advice, and I've been inviting her more places. And I'm just like, no, they ain't here for it either. I was just like, this just got to stop. Let me see. Oh, and then they brought up, because Melody said something about, oh, well, I like hanging out with you guys. We don't have all this bickering and all this other stuff going on. And so they brought up Martell talking down to Letitia, calling her sweetheart and all that other stuff. And he was trying to make it seem like, well, I didn't mean anything by it. And they were like, yeah, okay. Y'all, ain't nobody got time. He be doing the least, y'all. So anyway, Maurice and Kimmy go to couples therapy, and they believe in therapy, which I'm glad, because as we all know, a lot of black people do not believe in going to therapy. They just feel like go to church, pray about it, or go on somewhere, sit down, and just figure it out on your own, instead of going and seeing somebody who actually has gone to school for this, and it actually does work. I feel like it works. I know it has worked for me. So they're there, and they're discussing things, and, they feel like they're on track as far as the wedding is concerned. But Kimmy has concerns about him being involved with his son, because given the situation with him working full-time and in classes, he's not going to have time for his son, and everything is going to fall on her shoulders. And she, being a single mother, she knows how it is to have to do everything and still fit your child in there, and still do everything that you're supposed to do for your child, somehow make it that way. And she's just saying that she doesn't think that he understands the brevity of that situation, because it's just a lot. Like, people don't understand. Like, I've seen, you can just see the struggle sometimes on the faces, and the strain and the stress. You can just tell that it's a lot, whether you have kids or not. And I don't wish that on anybody, but, she accepted the fact that she decided to get pregnant, and she had him, and she did what she had to do to survive. And so, she just wants him to, try and actually help her, and to pay attention to things and rearrange things to include his son. So, moving on, Kimmy and Letitia, they meet up at this sex shop, and Kimmy wants to get some lingerie, and apparently several of her drawers are filled with lingerie, and she said it's just something about lingerie, and she's here for it, and she thinks that makes a difference. Well, Letitia says that she does not have that or any sex toys, and she doesn't see the point, and she actually went to like a little product party, like a sex party, where somebody was, I guess, selling those toys and all that stuff like that. And she brought something home and that she purchased, and Marceau was not here for it, and it went in the trash. So, they were talking. And so Melody ends up pulling up, and she come in. And so Kimmy is like, well, I need you to help me, because I thought I was going to get some support from her too, because I want to, get some things. And so she was like, well, I don't have any toys, and I don't have any lingerie. And so she looking like, well, obviously I brought the wrong friends. So I was like, Lord, this is too much. So anyway, they were talking, and you know, they ended up saying, I think you might look good in this, talking to Kimmy. And they ended up making her go into a dressing room, and she put on this outfit. It looked really, really cute. And whatever all the stuff was that she was going to buy, Melody paid for it. And so Kimmy was in the confessional like, well, go ahead and pay for it, because, y'all, she was not at my bridal shower, so she need to make up for that anyway. So she did that and paid and went on out the door. So Letitia and Kimmy were left in the place, and they were like, well, maybe, since I'm planning this, maybe we need to get them a gift. And so she ended up buying this red piece of lingerie for Melody. And they'd already discussed it earlier, and she was just like, oh, no, or whatever. She was like, no, that looked like something you would wear, talking to Kimmy. And she was like, you would have the body for that. Y'all tell me why at one point in time when this scene was happening, when Kimmy went in the dressing room, tell me why Melody did her confessional. And she was like, y'all, Kimmy look good to be almost 50 years old. I hope that when I start to age that I look good like that. Or something she said. Like, she always being shady. I'm just like, why are you so shady, man? That's what I hate about her. She is actually gorgeous to me. But she loves being shady. And it's like, you too pretty to just be out here doing all that. Like, you ain't got to do all that. In a way, I feel like she's insecure about a few things, apparently, for her to always feel the need to shade people. And I'm just like, why? What's really going on to where you feel like you just have to shade everybody all day? There's no reason. Y'all, so, Lord, they end up going to the next scene. The next scene is Maurice and his son, Maurice Jr., Monster. They're at the house. And so he was like, I had to carve out some time for my son. I'm taking advice, and I'm trying to do that because, he's getting older. And he needs to be able to be around me. He's with his mother most of the time. So anyway, he had always promised that he would build a rocket with him. So that's what they're doing in the living room. So they're talking, and he asked him, did he like Kimmy? And he was like, yeah, for the most part. He was like, well, for the most part. He was like, yeah. And so he was like, well, what do you like about her? And he listed off like a whole lot of stuff. He was like, she's nice. He said all kinds of nice personality traits that he likes about her, that she allows him to cook with her, all this other stuff. And he basically said the only thing he don't like about her is when they go shopping, because he just does not like to go shopping at all. And I was just like, okay. And so he was like, well, we're getting married. So what did you think when you first heard that we were going to get married? And so he was like, oh, I was happy. That boy got his entire life. I was just like, oh, and like, he's still young. He's 11 years old. And for him to be happy that his father is remarrying, I think that's amazing. Like, he like really is genuinely happy. And I was like, oh, that's so sweet. Oh my gosh. And so, he said that he really thinks that they are perfect for one another and that they belong together, and that he's just glad that they're getting married. So then, he said, well, what do you think is going to be the hardest thing to readjust? And he was like, possibly getting a new school to go to and all this other stuff, because he's scared that he's going to be getting bullied and joked on and all this other stuff. And so he tried to tell him, like, if things like that happen, you just have to ignore them and just know that they have the problem and you don't. So I was like, oh, look at you, giving all that good advice, y'all. So then we end up seeing Marsau and Melody. And they were at home. Marsau and Letitia, excuse me. So Letitia had just gotten back from the lingerie sex shop, or whatever you want to call it, sex shop. And so he was like, yeah, I want to see what you got in this bag. And so the first thing she pulled out was the red lingerie set. And so he was like, oh, he was kind of here for it. And so, he basically said to her that, he wouldn't mind seeing her in that. And so she was like, oh my gosh, I never thought that you would care about all that. And if you ever wanted, we've been together for 12 years. If you like stuff like that, you could have went out and got me something like that. I don't understand why you didn't get that for me. So then she was like, well, I actually bought something for myself. She bought herself the Kegel balls that Kimmy was talking about earlier, because she explained to her what they were, because she didn't know what Kegel balls were. And those particular ones that she got are the kind that you still do what you're supposed to do, put them up in there, but there is a remote control feature that you can sync to your phone, and he can have control of what he wants it to do with certain vibrations or whatever. And so he was just looking at her the whole time like, what? I don't understand. He was like, you can go ahead and get at to Melody them or something because I don't understand what that got to do with me. I ain't interested in, like, he was not here to, he wasn't here for that at all. I was like, oh my gosh, what is going on? Like, he really was not here for nothing except that lingerie. He was like, look, you need to just go ahead and get him a keychain because I don't understand what we're supposed to be doing with this. So yeah, he wasn't here for that at all. I was like, Lord, stop. So anyway, Marsau and Letitia eventually were like, okay, well, we got to get ready. So he was like, well, how long do I have? And she was like 30 minutes. And he was like, I only need 2. So I'm thinking he's trying to get it in before they have to get ready. So they're getting ready to actually go and get Melody and Martell. Now, I was just like, Lord, don't nobody have time. So then we see Melody and Martell at the house getting ready. They don't know what's going on. They were like, they just told us to get dressed to look really nice and that they were going to pick them up. So while they are getting ready, Melody brings up, where were you last night? And so he was like, what you mean? She was like, you left the house and you were gone like an extra 2 hours. Like, where did you go? And so he was like, well, you have to account for the fact that I have to leave and it takes me like 20 minutes to get there and 20 minutes to get back. And she was like, I did factor that in. I am smart. So I'm saying what I basically was like, I said what I said. I was like, oh my gosh. And so he was just like, Lord, I can't win for losing. When I feel like we're taking 2 steps forward, we're taking 4 steps back or whatever. And, she just ain't here for it. And so everybody except those particular married Holtz met up at Letitia and Marsau's house so they all could go over to pick them up. They were in this, I think it was a stretch excursion. I ain't seen one of them in I don't know how long. Like, for real, I have not seen a stretch excursion limo and I do not know how long. But anyway, that's what they ended up driving to go pick them up in. They ended up picking them up at the house. And they were surprising them with taking them to Florence, Alabama, to this place called 360. And it's this restaurant that's kind of like high up, and you can see the city from it. And it's like a ball, so to speak. Like, you would have to see what it looks like. It looked really gorgeous in there. So I was like, whatever. So anyway, they ended up driving there, and they are talking, and it's crazy because when they told them where they were going and what the situation was, like, got in the car and they were like, well, guys, where are you going? And so Marsau was like, well, we got this friend that's been married for like 10 years and it's going to be their anniversary. Martell bust out laughing because he was just like, you could tell he was like completely surprised. And so Melody was like, oh, that's so sweet, you guys. Like, she was just like, yeah, I'm not here for this. That's kind of like the vibe I got from her response. And, like I said, they told them where they were going. And so in the confessional, they were like, well, we didn't want to bust their bubble, but, we had already went there already. And, it was fine. You know what I'm saying? But we ain't going to bust their bubble. I was like, Lord. I was so tired. Oh, Lord. So anyway, they ended up giving them the gifts that they got, which ended up actually being y'all, I'm sorry, the air is dry. It ended up being the Kegel balls and it ended up being the lingerie set, y'all. And then it was hilarious because they gave the Kegel ball set to Martell and he was like, what is this? And so Melody started explaining to him flawlessly what it was and what he could do. And I was just like, what the world? And before I could hardly even say that, Letitia was in the confessional, was like, for someone who says that they don't use and do not have sex toys, she does know an awful lot about them. And I was like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because she doing the most. She really out here acting like she don't know nothing about none of all this stuff. My thing is this. You could have at least been like, I don't have any, but I know what they are. But she just really was like, I don't do that. I don't know what that is. That's the kind of vibe that she gave off. I was like, Lord. But anyway, it was funny because before they even got in the limo, they were discussing the cheating rumors. So anyway, Anyway, they end up getting to the place and they're walking in and they go to the room that is set aside for them and they're talking. And Melody asks Letitia, has she followed up with that woman who she met at the luncheon? And so she was like, that she did, but she hasn't continued to follow up with her because she has to get her house in order. And I'm thinking she's saying like metaphorically and not like literally. I gotta deep scrub my floors and wash my walls of my home and all that before I call someone back. Y'all, I was so tired. I was like, what? Like, everybody was confused. Even Melody got in the little confessional and said somebody. I was just like, is she really being serious when she said that? Because I did not understand why she said that. Like, that was very confusing to me. It's like, why you got to clean your house from top to bottom before you call somebody about trying to meet up with them again? Because it's not like you necessarily are going to invite them to your home. And her house didn't look nasty. So I was just like, what is going on? Why you gotta do all that? Like, she did the most, y'all. I was tired. So then, then she tried to switch gears and was like, Letitia, she tried to switch gears and was like, we're here for y'all to celebrate y'all. And we know that y'all have been trying to overcome some things and that y'all have overcome infidelity and how has it been and all this other stuff. Martell was so tired in his spirit. He was just looking like, they kept showing him in the confessional. And he was just like, every time I look up, they want to just keep bringing up the past. I don't understand. He was just not here for nothing, y'all. I was so tired. But anyway, at one point in the conversation, before I forget, they ended up talking to Marceau and Letitia in relation to that callback she was trying to do with that woman. And he was like, look, I don't have time. He basically was like, ain't nobody got time for this. That ain't what I signed up for. And she is supposed to be, because it's crazy because Martell was actually talking directly to Letitia. They were sitting next to each other. Everybody basically was sitting, if I'm not mistaken, across from their spouse. And so every time she tried to answer, Marceau kept interjecting. And I was just like, why? Why won't you let her speak for herself? Like, I came with you, sir. Like, you be doing the most. And that's why I be looking at you sideways all of the time. Because you be doing the most for no reason. So, he was like, yeah, I think he was talking to me. And she was like, no, he's looking directly at me. And I was just like, Lord, it was just so crazy. But he does like he always does, where he doesn't want her to work. And he was like, I don't want her to sit up there and sacrifice her home life for a job and all this other stuff. And then they went to the confessional where she was actually saying that, look, I'm not trying to say that I am abandoning my home. I'm trying to say to you that I basically just want to work part-time for our company. And you ain't trying to hear nothing I'm saying to you. Basically at the moment, that's what she kind of want to do to kind of get her feet wet, I guess. Because she has been talking about doing the realtors stuff. So, y'all, I was tired in my spirit. Anyway, let's see what else. Yeah, so it got to the point where when Letitia asked what she asked, Melody went on like a small rant, and she was like, when you get with someone and they do these things to you, they said they would never do as your husband, and then they do them, and then they break